All right, today we're going to dive into something that's, well, it's personal, and it can be pretty painful. The experience of being rejected over and over again. It's a tough thing to deal with, and we're going to break down the psychology of why it can hurt so much and how our own minds can spin that pain into a whole story about who we are.
At the very center of all this is a really tough gut punch of a question. You know the one. It's that voice that pops up after a date goes silent, or you get another automated rejection email for a job. Does being turned down again and again mean you are, deep down, low value? That's the core idea we're going to unpack together.
Now, let's be really clear about something. The goal here isn't to hit you with a bunch of cheesy motivational quotes or easy advice. The pain you feel from rejection, that's 100% real. What we're going to do instead is look at the internal logic, the step-by-step process in your brain that leads you to even ask that question in the first place.
So where does this all start? It starts right inside your own head. It begins with this little bit of mental math, a connection our brain makes that links two totally different things: what happens to us on the outside and what we decide it means about us on the inside.
We can actually give this a name: the desirability equation. It's basically this unconscious process where our brain starts to think that how much other people want us, our external desirability, is the same thing as our internal personal value. And when rejection keeps happening, our mind just runs this equation on autopilot. It becomes a reflex.
And this is the moment where our mind makes this huge, critical leap. See, on one hand, you've got what actually happened, an external experience. Someone didn't pick you. That's it. But on the other hand, you have how your mind interprets it as a final verdict on your worth as a person. That desirability equation, it's the bridge the mind builds to get from A to B.
So, and this is so important, when your brain runs this equation again and again, it doesn't just stay a fleeting thought. Nope. It starts to grow, it gets stronger, it turns into a core story you tell yourself about who you are. And pretty soon, you've got a full-blown narrative of inferiority.
You can kind of see how it builds up, right? First, you experience the rejection. Then, your brain automatically applies that equation. That might create a quick, fleeting thought, like, maybe I'm not good enough. But then, it happens again and again, and that little belief gets stronger each time, until it hardens into this fixed, solid narrative. I am not good enough, period. And this, right here, is the most powerful psychological trick in the whole process. That internal story, which started out as a subjective feeling, I feel inadequate, slowly morphs until it feels like an objective, undeniable fact about you. The line between I feel worthless and I am worthless just completely disappears. So that brings us to the real heart of it. If this is all just a story we're telling ourselves, why on earth does it feel so real? Why does it feel less like a narrative and more like a scientifically proven theory? Well, let's pull back the curtain on this illusion of proof. This quote from the research just hits the nail on the head. Your mind starts treating every single time you're overlooked not as just some random thing that happened, but as a piece of data. It's evidence. It's exhibit A, B, and C in the case to prove the theory that you are in fact inferior. So why does this story feel like rock-solid proof? There are a few big reasons. First, the evidence. The rejections themselves are real. They actually happened. You can't deny that. Second, our brains are pattern-finding machines, and when something happens repeatedly, it starts to feel logical, like it's a rule of the universe. Third, the emotional pain is just so intense, it feels like it has to be pointing to some deep, important truth. And finally, and this is a big one, this whole story confirms our deepest, darkest fears about ourselves. It feels true because it's exactly what we were afraid was true all along. Okay, now that we've kind of taken the machine apart and seen how it works, let's just step back for a second. This isn't about finding some magical fix. It's about taking a moment for a more humane, a more compassionate look at what's really going on here. Let's try to put a new frame on this. Rejection is an event. That's it. It's a thing that happens in a certain place at a certain time, and it involves other people who have their own stuff going on. It's just an occurrence. And here is the absolute key distinction. Even though it feels like a final judgment, like a report card on your entire soul, it is not an evaluation. An event is not a measurement of your worth. So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. The pain of being overlooked is absolutely 100% real. We have to honor that. But the story our mind creates out of that pain, that whole narrative of being inferior, that is not an accurate measurement of your value.
It's a trick of the mind, not an objective truth.
And so we'll close with a question for you to think about. If rejection isn't a measurement of your value, then what is it? Maybe it's just a sign of a mismatch, or a bad timing, or just someone else's preference. Simply asking yourself that question is the very first step to dismantling that internal equation. And that's a thought really worth holding on to.